welcome back to the channel. My name is Rebecca, and today we are going to be knocking off a ready-made garment. I've decided to make September the knockoff month. Welcome to September, because this year is totally flying by. I mean, it's been insane, but I'm glad that it will be over soon. Hopefully we could walk into 2021 with ease. It can only go up from here, right? It can only go up from here. But anyway, today we are going to knock off a dress that I have. I have a knitted dress. I've had it for quite some time. It's knitted, it's black. It's I believe it's like a jersey knit. I've had it for some time. So the neckline has stretched. It's like a plunging neckline now when I wear it. So I figured, why not knock it off so that I can have a secondary one, since I am home all the time now since the pandemic. I have the material, I have the tools, so why not make, more garments like it, since I really liked it. Next week on Sunday, we will be converting that same dress into a romper. So subscribe so that you can see the video on how I converted it over. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. The very first thing you need to do is to flatten out your dress so that you have the center front nice and even. So what I would do is pin the side seam all the way down so that you have it nice and secure. Now it's best to use a foam board when you're doing this so that you can just pin it in place. But I didn't get a foam board, and the ones I had were already ruined, so I just laid it down on my cutting mat. Add some weights to the top so that it stays in place, and from there you can add your paper, your pattern paper, or whatever paper you're using to trace the dress on top of the dress. Secure it with some pins so that it'll stay in place. What you can do is add the weights on top of the paper, but the fabric is a bit slinky, so I decided to add some at the bottom, and I will also add some directly on top of the pattern paper as well. Using the side of your tailor's chalk, go ahead and press down onto the edge, which is the center front of the fabric, so that you get the imprint onto the paper. So you're only using the edge of the chalk. You're not like pressing it down directly to make the line with the edge. You're simply pressing it onto the dress so that you can get the imprint of the dress. Repeat the same step for the back. You can use the same sheet of paper or use a separate piece. Now that you have obtained the imprint of the dress, you are going to smooth those lines, right? Those seams. You're going to make sure that your center front and center back is straight and parallel to the hem. You are also going to smooth out the curvature of that side seam along with the neckline and the armhole opening, since it is sleeveless. Be sure that at the end of every seam you have that 1/2 inch parallel edge, and that's just so that your seams aren't making a point and that it's running smoothly into the adjoining seam. Now that you've had the imprint of the dress and you've smoothed it out, you are going to balance it. I'm using a light box in order to balance the seams. All you need to do is line up that side seam under the arms where the center front and the center back is meeting. You can add a pin there to secure it, but your goal is to get the center back and center front line to be parallel to each other all the way down. So whatever it is you need to do, if you need to pin it in place, whatever it is. Once you do that, you'll have a small variation, a small variance with the center front side seam and the center back side seam. And what you can do is use your tracing wheel to trace in the center of those two lines, just so that it is balanced and you have a straight plumbing line for that side seam. Now that balancing is done, you need to true those seams to make sure that they are even and they're not coming to a point. So you can readjust your shoulder seam, fold the paper so that you are exactly on that shoulder seam, lay it down right against the center front and the center back so that they are matching, and you can use your ruler to make it go straight across, right? If you wanted to widen that seam, right now would be the best time to do that. But what you want it to do is to follow that ruler straight across. You don't want it to be creating a point or curving out of whack. It should be matching perfectly. You also need to check the hem to make sure that both seams are the same length. The center front needs to come straight across, right? So hold your ruler perpendicular to that center front and make sure that it comes across at least a ½ inch so that it doesn't come down to a point. The same for the hem. You can add your seam allowance for the hem. The seam allowance is 3/4. The armhole, I did it at 3/8 because I will be adding the binding. And the neckline will be the same as the armhole, which is 3/8. But the side seam you can make at a ½ inch. So that is it. We are coming to an end. This is how you would put the fabric together. This is how you'd put the pattern together, and you would cut it the same way on the fabric, right? So the center front would be on fold along with the center back being on fold. The fabric I'm using is pretty wide, so I was able to tri-fold it with both edge coming to the center, and it worked perfectly. But if you are interested in the video on how to sew it or how to put it together, especially with the binding, definitely let me know and I'll be more than happy to post it. I didn't think it was necessary, so I didn't add it on there. But that is all for today, folks. You have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Be blessed.